It's fair to say that the inexhaustible supply of inspiration that I find in the landscape is both a blessing and a curse. I know I will never be able to paint all the ideas I find, and over my years painting professionally, this fact has created in me a kind of wanderlust, a restless quest for new views, new ideas, and new discoveries, in which there is much to challenge and delight the outdoor painter. But having now passed my 52nd year of life and my 26th year as a professional artist, I've found myself reflecting on where I've been and what I've done. And I realized that it had been some time since I visited the desert places that inspired me to pursue the landscape as an art form and had provided so much inspiration for my early work in the desert Southwest. So for this show, I decided to revisit these places, rekindle my acquaintance, and see what I could find in the rediscovery of my old haunts. I still ended up with more inspiration than I will ever be able to paint, but in finding these new perspectives on my favorite parts of the Southwest, I think I've come to love and appreciate them even more deeply. And with a quarter-century of work and growth behind me, I like to think that perhaps they have also given me some valuable new perspective on myself. Over my years painting outdoors, I've developed what I think of as a mental atlas of secret places. Not necessarily secret places in the sense that they are hidden, remote, or somehow inaccessible to anyone less than intrepid, though those can all be true. They are places I've discovered where, for some reason, I've seldom seen another artist. Like a miner with a claim that promises a mother lode, I've adopted a somewhat possessive attitude toward such places, treasure troves of inspiration which, known only to me, are mine to explore, paint, and enjoy alone. I share them judiciously, swearing my guests to secrecy when we leave. It's all somewhat silly, if I'm honest. But Glade Park, which is a remote and rural area southwest of Colorado National Monument, is one such place for me. It amazed me the very first time I visited, and it continues to do so on each new visit, with views like this. The east side of Echo Park, in Dinosaur National Monument, is the place where the Yampa River and the Green River meet and merge. This magnificent place is full of large-scale inspiration, towering cliffs, the imposing form of Steamboat Rock, and the graceful sweep of the river through it. It is truly a big place in every sense of the word. In all the years that I've been coming here, though, this particular spot has challenged me. It's kind of a natural subject, the confluence of two amazing, beautiful rivers surrounded by an amazing canyon. But it nevertheless does not offer up a ready-made composition for the artist's brush. It makes you earn it. So for this piece, I set myself the challenge to see how far could I reduce the elements of this magnificent place without losing the essential character of it. I feel pretty confident that I got it in this piece. The visual evidence of time's passage is abundant in the Grand Valley of western Colorado. Indeed, I would argue that this is both a defining characteristic and the main source of the visual splendor and charm of the desert Southwest. This view, just outside the west entrance to Colorado National Monument, shows this evidence through several aspects. The unique erosional geometry of the book cliffs seen in the background, sandstone blocks that continue to be relentlessly reshaped by the ravages of freeze and thaw cycles, and the humble juniper tree whose shape reflects the difficult realities of growth and survival in this harsh environment. The low western light of another day now past is the perfect complement to this tableau of time. Though famed for its eponymous stone spans, Arches National Park offers plenty of other fascinating geological wonders to explore and enjoy. This formation, called the Three Gossips, is one of those wonders and is iconic in its own right. It greets every visitor driving along the main road into the park and has always struck me as something so quirky and improbable that it's amazing to believe that it was formed naturally. The light of sunrise washes this stunning park in amazing crimson and orange light every morning, and I was fortunate to find myself there on one such occasion, sipping a hot cup of coffee, admiring the view, and wondering what they would say if those rocks could talk. The map is not the territory. This old saying is especially true in the Boulder and Escalante region of southern Utah. I've confirmed it many times over on my journeys through the wilderness of these canyons, and for those driving south on Highway 12 from Boulder, Utah, this is both the first glimpse of how profoundly true that saying is here, and a preview of wonders yet to come. This particular canyon is called Dry Hollow. It's a tributary of Boulder Creek, which is in turn a tributary of the Escalante River. In its upper reaches, it winds its way through the massive sandstone domes that characterize the charming landscape around Boulder. Here we see it in morning light, where it shows the ability of buff-colored sandstone to take on any number of amazing colors under different lighting conditions. Though Colorado National Monument is well known for its dramatic red rock canyons and vast vistas, there are other viewpoints in the monument which I enjoy painting just as much, albeit for different reasons. This is one such view, which is near the Liberty Cap trailhead below the canyons and cliffs of the monument. This scene comes from August 2021, during which the summer monsoon that had largely been absent since 2019 returned in abundance. There is a feeling to the air, a subtle signal that storms will be coming as the heat of the day acts on the moisture in the atmosphere. There's something operatic in scale and drama watching these vast storm clouds rise up above the cliffs, obscuring the rays of the summer sun slowly as they swell up and start to rain on the parched desert below. This piece is a view from Echo Park, which is deep in the backcountry of Dinosaur National Monument in far northwestern Colorado. I first visited this place to paint it in 1996, and it is still inspiring me to return all these many years later. I'm always struck by a profound sense of time and distance when I visit here. A long and time-consuming journey is required to come to this remote place, and once you arrive, encircled by the towering canyon walls along the Green River, the outside world seems very far away. One's experience of time is different here as well, if you allow yourself to attune to the innate rhythms of the place. On this particular visit, the cottonwood trees along the distant wash that forms the gateway to Echo Park were completing their annual and colorful transformation after another year of gathering light in this place that seems light years from anywhere. My fascination with the desert Southwest as a subject began in the canyons and the countryside of Escalante and Boulder, Utah. In the 32 years since my very first visit here, I have found few other places that offer such a variety of landforms, color, and inspiration, and few other places that offer such endless opportunity for exploration. This is a view to the east at sunset from the Hogback, which is a dramatic stretch of Highway 12 just south of Boulder that runs along the very top of a knife-edge ridge of sandstone. Whether you wish to lose yourself in the play of light and shadow on stunning rock formations, or in the many charms of this unique region, you would be hard-pressed to find a better place to get lost. The Book Cliffs have become a favorite subject of mine since I moved to the Grand Valley of western Colorado 20 years ago. Their geometries and morphology are a constant interest and a constant challenge to paint. But when you get up close to them, you find that they are also cut by many beautiful and intriguing canyons. This view is from one of the larger ones, Main Canyon in the Little Book Cliffs Wild Horse Range. It's autumn, and the chamisa is in full bloom, which, like most of autumn's colorful charms, is all too short-lived. This is one of those subjects that I think of as an arrangement painting. I just happened to cross it, and something about the arrangement of light, shadow, chamisa, tamarisk, and rocks just struck a chord with me. It just goes to show that inspiration can arrive in many forms and can often take you by surprise when you're least expecting it. Rimrock Drive follows a serpentine route along the canyon rims of Colorado National Monument and is nothing short of spectacular, offering picture postcard views into the monument's impressive canyons and the Grand Valley beyond. But in my decades of exploring this place, I've discovered there are plenty of subtler wonders to be enjoyed if you just watch out for them. These large rocks sit right along the roadside, perfectly perched against gravity, having at some prior point calved off the cliff above. I've often looked at this group of rocks and marveled at how they landed, wondering what the odds were that they should end up sitting just so, rather than shattered 500 feet below at the bottom of Monument Canyon. With a recent snowfall adding charm to this view, it was too tempting to resist, a minor miracle in a place that owes its splendor to a long line of them. Edward Abbey once remarked that the landscape, like a man or a woman, acquires character through time and endurance. I've always loved that quote, and in fact I have it hanging on my studio wall. This view, looking east from the Notom Bullfrog Road in Capitol Reef National Park, sums up this sentiment well, I think. From the millennia of deposition that laid down all the geological layers in this butte, to the millennia of erosion that has carved parts of it away to form the dramatic shapes we see now, this seemingly unremarkable desert vista takes on a new aspect when viewed with this idea in mind. So also does this painting, at least for me, as it proved to require an abundance of both time and endurance to complete. I guess you could think of it as character building for both artist and artwork. I think most of my friends and family believe that I'm just a little bit crazy for being so much in love with wintertime, but I find it incomparably beautiful. Where I live, snow is not always plentiful in winter, so when it does fall on the valley, it's a special treat, and I invariably head out to soak in the winter ambiance and get as much of the scenery in paint and camera as I can. This view of the Book Cliffs at dusk, after a very abundant snowfall, was an unexpected one. I had traveled out to this spot specifically to get some additional reference photos of the pink sunset glow that fires the snowy Book Cliffs in winter. But once the sun had set, I began packing up and making ready to head home. The rising moon caught my attention, and it was then, in taking a moment to admire it, that I realized how much subtle light was still playing across this landscape. The snow actually amplified it, making the contours in the ground and the snow-covered vegetation stand out. I'd literally never seen the Book Cliffs in this light before. It didn't last long, and with the sun gone, neither did the meager warmth of this December day, so I headed back to the studio to make some notes and warm up. For a hiker, a backpacker, or an artist, there are few places in the world more beguiling than the canyon country of southern Utah. The glorious light found in these narrow, winding red rock canyons of the Escalante River system never fails to surprise, amaze, and delight. It was here that my love affair with the desert Southwest began some 32 years ago, and these canyons still call me back. I found this particularly dramatic striped wall in Harris Wash, one of Escalante River's main tributaries. Often referred to as desert varnish, the stripes and streaks are areas where water has run down the rock face and oxidized the iron and other minerals in the sandstone. These streaks often form beautiful patterns which are then brought to luminous life by the sunlight that shines into and reflects throughout the meandering depths of these lovely canyons. I drive past this spot near Colorado National Monument regularly in my travels to the monument and beyond, and it never fails to draw my attention. I've mulled painting it for several years now, but could never really settle on an idea. This view is part of a much larger outcrop of warped, curved sandstone, and it took a snowstorm and a eureka moment to finally enable me to see this vignette apart from the larger scene, and realize that this is where my interest has always been. There are fascinating patterns and rhythms throughout every part of this view, an uncanny order in the midst of apparent chaos. The vivid color imparted by morning light sets these patterns off in brilliant and dramatic fashion.